Hello and welcome to NorthCountry Matters. My name is Donna Seymour. I'm a member of the St. Lawrence County branch of the American Association of University Women, one of the civic partners for this show. Today we have the president of Jefferson Community College in Watertown, Dr. Carole McCoy, with us in the studio. Carole, welcome to NorthCountry Matters. You and I are old friends.
Yes, we are.
I'm happy to welcome you. Dr. McCoy holds a bachelor's degree in economics from Framingham State College in Massachusetts, a master's degree in business administration from the University of Massachusetts, and a doctorate in public administration from the University of Baltimore. She's the 5th president of JCC, was appointed in 2007. The college was founded in 1961, and it's the anchor on the western side of the North Country for higher education institutions. It's a member of the 62-campus university system of New York State and one of 36 community colleges in the state. So you are right at the forefront of the most exciting part of higher education these days, which is community colleges, aren't you?
We are, and in fact, I've always thought community colleges were really at the forefront because we have the ability to be pretty nimble, pretty flexible, and respond. But lately, we've been getting an awful lot of national attention as to what the capabilities of community colleges are. So much more recognized for the forefront.
And one of the reasons for that, Carole, is because of the college access and the affordability. There's nothing that's more primed to help the low income or the middle income student get a good start in higher education than going to a community college. They fill a really important place along that spectrum. Last year, and I'm going to hold this up if you guys could get a shot of it, AAUW came out with a national report called Women in Community Colleges, Access to Success. It identified some of the barriers to college for women, particularly for women who juggle work and a family life. And the report gave very high marks to our community college system here in New York State. We're educating 31% of all of the state's undergraduate students. Women make up 55% of the community college population, and 32 out of our 36 campuses offer campus childcare. And I know I know JCC is one of those colleges. How do those statistics compare with the student population that you're seeing on your campus?
Relatively similar. I pulled out our fact book just to double check this before I came today. 61% of our student body is female.
Okay.
So a little bit higher than the average. And just over half of our student body is full-time. So we're a nice mix between part-time and full-time. Our average student age is 27, so that tells you we have a lot of working adults, a lot of parents who attend Jefferson.
The non-traditional
age, yes. And we most definitely have a child care center, and it's very, very well used.
Yes, I'm sure it is. Something that people may not know about the city of Watertown is that it's the 9th fastest growing small city in the country. So that puts JCC right at the front of needing to be ready to provide educational opportunity, not just for the population that you have that is North Country born and bred, but also for the people who are coming in, which as we know in the Watertown area, is largely the Fort Drum military base, because there's people coming in and out of the area all the time. How does JCC meet the needs of that particular population, and are you seeing your enrollment reflect that fact that Watertown is such a dynamic place population-wise?
Most definitely. To start with, our enrollment over the past 5 years has grown 30%. Community colleges, as you know, Donna, are open access, which means anyone who can possibly do college work is welcomed. So that's a reflection of the growth in the community. About 40% of our student body comes to us via Fort Drum in some way, shape, or form. They're either active duty or spouses or children of active duty. And we've got a very large and increasingly growing number of veterans who are turning to the college. You know, one of the things I really like about Jefferson County and about Watertown is the way that Fort Drum is really a piece of the community. It's not Watertown and then Fort Drum. You know, it is very much an integrated system with people living next door to each other, supporting each other. And that's what we see on campus, just students from everywhere in the area, including Fort Drum, throughout all of our programs, throughout any format we have. We do have an educational center up on Post, which is very nice, and have a couple of people who work up there full-time, working with soldiers and their families. Fort Drum very nicely gives us access to some classrooms, so we do offer courses there. And we find that for some students, they love that, but a lot of students really like to come to campus and be part of a full campus experience, especially spouses when their loved one is deployed.
Right.
Then we really become their home. The other thing just to mention about that whole Fort Drum connection is there's something called the SUNY Consortium of the North Country, which is other colleges that are part of the SUNY system also hosted up on Post, so that we're part of a bigger complex of educational opportunities.
For the soldiers and for their
soldiers
families
and their
on
families,
the base.
yes.
One of the things that is a little bit unique about Fort Drum as well is that there is no on-base public school, so that
Right.
the students are integrated into the surrounding school districts depending on where their families might live. And that certainly, as you say, gives that sense of integration with the community, and it's a much less rigid structure than we see on a lot of bases, where they really don't have to go off post for anything if they don't want to. They could completely stay on the post. Yeah. In your time at Jefferson Community, you have certainly overseen some major expansions and some changes at the college. Tell us a little bit about how the campus has grown and what your new initiatives. I know, for example, that JCC just opened your very first dorm, so that's certainly a new experience for you as a college.
Yes.
Yeah.
We started, when I came to the college in 2007, we were asked to update our facilities master plan by SUNY and the state of New York. So we did that, and we laid out a pretty ambitious program for where we not just wanted to go, but where we needed to go to meet community needs. And it's exciting because we're starting to fulfill some of the things that are in that facilities master plan. The residence hall was one of them. It had been debated on campus for years and years and years. I came to the college never thinking I would put in a residence hall, because they're very unusual in the community college world, except in New York. In New York, many of the community college campuses have them. So we opened our residence hall this last fall, as you just said. So we're about 6 weeks in to residential living. A couple of other major projects that are going on. We also in 2007 set out to create something we called the Collaborative Learning Center. Some schools call it a Learning Commons, but it's an integration of testing and tutoring in the library and group study and individual study and breakout space, all those wonderful student-related, achievement-related services. We were funded for that. We're working on the design. We'll be breaking ground next spring for that building.
So construction is definitely on the agenda for
Construction's
you
on
moving forward.
Yes.
Yeah.
And of course, we have to get through winter to know exactly when we'll be breaking that ground, but somewhere around
Or when it thaws out.
but somewhere around the beginning of April.
Yeah.
And that building then will give us, once it's built, will give us the capacity to renovate the building that is currently our library. And that'll allow us to have more classrooms, which we desperately need, some better integration of space for faculty and students to work together, which we don't have much of, so that'll be great. It'll also let us expand our nursing program and expand our paramedic program.
And those are two really important programs, because the North Country is still so underserved in a medical sense. So more nurses, more paramedics are certainly helping to meet the need that we see across the North Country.
And it goes back to your comments about the model at Fort Drum. Not only are there no schools on post, but they have very limited medical capacity. The idea when the fort was built was that they would use community-based medical services. So there is a tremendous demand for care providers and medical services in Jefferson County.
And one of the things I suspect that is also a big need now is for the specialized rehabilitation type services as the soldiers come back from the active combat with wounds and things, and they need to go through some healing and some rehabbing. So that's another big area that of need in your community. That's for sure. One of the things, of course, that happens is when you open up a dorm for the first time, you have to change how the campus actually, I mean, there's implications for food service, for you needing staff to be around the clock on the campus. So that's kind of a new area as well for you.
It's a big change. You know, we spent close to 7 years planning this thing and getting it financed. But we spent all of last year, while the construction was going on, evaluating every policy that we have, looking at, as you said, food service. You know, our food service, there was nothing on the weekends or even between semesters. So massive changes to our food service. Looking at our student activities. Did we have things at night and on the weekend that would be of interest to residence hall students? We had to, you know, figure out the right way to find residence directors and our security staff, all those things. So it has been a big change. I will say the first day that faculty came back, you could feel it on campus that there was an air of excitement about what this was doing to our campus. Move-in day, I think we had more volunteers helping students move in than students and their families. I mean, so everyone was just so excited about what this was bringing to our campus. You know, and so it's a new world for us.
It is a new world. How large? How many beds do you have in your residence hall?
We have 294 beds.
Okay. And is it full or close to
No,
full?
it's about 85% full.
Okay, so this is new for students as well to think about moving on campus.
It is, and what's funny is I learned we're having students going to move in this weekend. We're, halfway through the semester. But what's happening is they see their friends in there. They see, it's a beautiful, beautiful building. So they see that, they see some of the programs that are going on in the residence hall, and they still want to be part of it. So I was like, hey, that's wonderful.
So that's also just changing campus life as this whole process matures. Is there a plan to put additional housing up as need grows, or are you going to give this a trial run and see how it goes?
Well, this we're giving a good trial run. We did, very recently, we had to update our facilities master plan again. We did draw a little line as to where Residence Hall 2 would go and Residence Hall 3 would go, just for planning purposes.
But those are just little shadows.
They're just little shadows. There is no plan to do that right now. We'll see how this goes. We want these full, and we also, you know, want to make sure that it's, you know, really working for us, and that if there was enough demand to fill another one, we'd start to think about it.
It looks like the demand is there, though, at least for this initial phase, right?
Absolutely.
Well, one of the things, of course, that having dorms brings to the campus is it kind of changes the campus safety rules that you need to come up with, and some of the things, you know, as we both know, there's been a lot of attention in the last couple of years about campus safety and other kinds of things that go along with that, like assault and harassment and all that sort of thing. And you've recently had to deal with that on your campus. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing to improve campus safety and to ensure that there's a positive and healthy campus climate for all of your students in a safe way that's respectful and moves us all forward as a society.
Well, I would just start saying I've never been worried about safety on our campus, but we did do a lot in anticipation of the residence halls. We actually built into the residence hall area for our security staff to be present there nights and weekends. You know, we have them on campus, but we wanted to make a strong statement about the importance of security, so we built an area for them. We can't get in the building without going right by that.
Okay, so that's good.
It's that in
yeah.
their face. And, you know, added the staffing we needed to do that. We also added another supervisory position to our campus safety and security so that we have someone who works through the evening and into the night, so that I knew we had a level of authority there all the time. So I said we had looked at our code of conduct, and, you know, obviously with all of the attention nationally on violence against women, we've been closely watching everything and you know, doing what we need to change and anticipating what might change next. We've always done a lot of programming for students around these issues. And the move-in weekend, not just for the residence hall students, but all students, we put on an introduction to college weekend, sort of half fun, half
serious,
you know, but you got to have some fun in it, or they're not going to come.
Right.
It did some topics around campus safety and sexual issues then. And then throughout the semester, we always have things. We just, sex signals, it's on a lot of campuses, very, very popular and a good one for students. We have a nice relationship with the Victims Assistance Center in Watertown. I happen to be their board president this year, but we had a nice
relationship.
We had a very nice relationship long before that happened. Right. So they're on campus doing quite a bit of programming with us as well. Oh gosh, we just had a woman, Dr. I wrote this one down. I can't remember exactly what it's called. Dr. Shuey, Conversations with a Sex Expert.
Oh,
that one was flocked to, okay?
Oh,
it was like that.
You could have sold tickets.
I could have sold tickets. But, you know, you try to get a nice mix of trying to be sure that everybody knows what proper behavior looks like, but finding a way that they will come and find out about it.
Right.
You know, and the RAs in the residence hall are having floor meetings. You know, just we're doing everything we can think of as often as we can, because it's a message you can't just say it once.
No, you can't.
It's got to be over and over and over again.
And certainly some of the new initiatives at SUNY Central along this way, as they begin to put their new practices into place and come up with the Yes Means Yes campaign, when they decide how that's going to work, those will all be tools that you can use as well.
Absolutely.
And as you say, it's so important to be able to utilize the community resources in that way, because you don't have to do everything yourself. You don't have to have all the answers. You can say to your partners, like the Victims Assistance Center, you know, come in and help us with that.
Yes.
Sometimes bringing in an outside person like that makes the message listened to in a different way than if it's an on-campus voice.
It's like the outside authority.
Yeah,
always knows more than you do, right?
That's exactly right. So, well, that's good. And you know, I know you've always done a lot with informing students about their Title IX rights and responsibilities. So that is that's good to hear. Let's switch topics a little bit and talk about STEM, which is, of course, technology, engineering, math, and science. Science, yes, exactly. The S part of STEM. Those are the jobs of the future. Those are also jobs that aren't going filled today as well as they could be. And so it's an opportunity, particularly for colleges at the community level, to provide training, sometimes at the certificate level as well as at the associate's degree level, for workers to get that kind of training. So what does JCC offer in that area, and what are you doing to encourage more of your students to look at STEM as a possibility of an area to explore academically?
Well, we have a number of programs that are STEM related. Our engineering program is very closely affiliated with Clarkson's program here. And
is it like a 2+2?
It's a 2+2 type program. And in fact, we're working on a robotics education component right now, working with faculty here at Clarkson about exactly how that would work, but it lets our students go out into the public schools and work with younger
like the Lego
kids.
Type of robotic competitions that we see schools do.
Get some experience with that. Obviously, I mentioned the health professions as being a very big part of what we do. We've also added some other medical, not medical, but substance abuse counseling program and some of those things that are not quite STEM, but
they're
in
related
that,
to health,
in
yes.
health and
Yeah.
in that arena.
Right.
You know, interestingly, when I came to the college, our largest program was our liberal arts transfer program, and now our largest program is a math science transfer program. So you know that students are getting the message about where the careers are. You know, so many of our students, though, stay general until they transfer. We did add an energy management program.
That's right, sustainable
and
energy.
Sustainable
you're doing,
energy,
yeah,
yes,
that's
a
very
certificate
exciting,
there, and
right.
that one is exciting. One of my favorite things we're doing is really trying to reach younger children. Our faculty put together something called Super Science Saturday. It's been running, I think, 7 or 8 years now. And it's on a Saturday. I know that surprises you with the name. And,
And it's super.
And it is super, and it is all about science. But
So there's truth in advertising.
There's truth in advertising on this. But it is faculty, students, and some outside folks in the community who put on interactive learning experiences for children, usually aimed 5th to 6th, 7th
Right.
grade, you know, so younger, trying to get them excited. Always some kind of chemistry show with things blowing up, and
Always a favorite.
It is always a favorite. It's always packed. You can't get in. Always a lot with animals. You know, we have a zoo technology program,
That's right.
which is very
That's right.
unique. So a lot of things with animals there. A lot of maggot painting and things
Do
that
they sit still for being painted?
they do the painting. You put the paint on them. They
Oh,
try.
I see.
The kids love those things. But you know, animal sounds and just a plethora of activity. We will get 500-600 students there. You know, with their families, spending the day engaged in science and math on campus. Everybody's excited. You can see it in their eyes. They're gabbing about. They stay hours. It's just a wonderful, wonderful day. And we've been doing it long enough. We're just starting to see a couple of
Some of
those kids
are coming
into
back
us.
as students. That's
Yeah.
you know, and that's really that's a great opportunity because it gets them on the campus at a very impressionable age, and it makes them see that they can see themselves as a college student
Yes.
someday when they get a
Yes.
little bit older.
Yeah, we do that with some summer camps as
Right.
well. I don't know if you've seen those, but you know, we have a CSI Jefferson camp and an engineering camp aimed at 4th graders. And
And I know I was talking with Greg Hart from the Workforce Development Institute, and he was talking about doing the MASH camps
Yes.
with Fort Drum.
Yes.
And those are another great opportunity to get kids interested in the medical side of things. Are you doing anything on the campus with coding, which seems to be the hot science area right now to get, especially give kids an opportunity to get in and write little computer programs and applications that do things? That seems to be one of those interesting areas that people are really working to get students
not
involved
really
in.
at a young age. I mean, we do have a couple of different computer science type degree programs that are heavily code oriented, transfer degrees for people who want to make a career out of that. We've looked at a summer camp, especially with the residence hall. You know,
Yes.
now we've got it available for summers, so we're starting to brainstorm what we could do. In fact, we're looking at an AAUW opportunity, and
that's
it didn't
right.
work out
This year,
This
right,
year, but
right.
we're going to think about that one again to get.
Yeah, the tech trek, I think.
Yes, it was to
Tech
get young
Trek,
girls
yes.
on campus
Right.
and have them doing a whole variety of those kinds of things. But there's plenty of opportunity
Oh,
still
gosh,
for
yes,
us. Yeah.
yes. And you have that wonderful Science Tech Center in Watertown as well. So there's there's a lot of great opportunities there. And I know you have a new program for people interested in going into the wine business as well.
We
So
do.
that's exciting.
We do. We have a winery operations program. In fact, I do laugh because there is something just a little odd that we opened the winery operations class and the chemical dependency the same year. Okay. So we're trying to cover all ends here and be responsible.
That's good. One of the things that I wanted to be sure to take time to chat with you about a little bit is how perhaps you can give us some insight into the Common Core standards, which New York State is in the process of implementing. We know that a community college like yours, particularly one that is associated with a military base where you have families coming into our area from all over the country. So students may have been involved in several different schools during the course of their parents' military career, and the changes that we know every state has their own set of standards and expectations, but when everybody comes together in a place like JCC, you're seeing people with a lot of different backgrounds, a lot of different levels of experience and educational knowledge. And one of the things that the Common Core, as it becomes implemented across the country, is designed to do is to even out the experiences that students are having, so that regardless of where you come from, you come in with that set of standard skills and expectations. What do you see in terms of people who are coming onto the campus in terms of their academic preparation? Do you see a big variety in terms of their skill levels and their ability to be successful in college? And do you think a set of consistent national standards would really help that process, of being successful in the college environment?
All right, a lot of questions
there
in
is
there,
a lot
Donna,
of questions
but so
in there.
I'll just pick a place to start, okay?
Sure.
The students who come to us today, about half of them can't do college level work yet.
Okay.
And we measure students in the areas of reading, English, and mathematics. Probably not surprisingly, the largest number of students who don't perform at college level are is in the math area. Frequently, students haven't taken math in their senior year in high school and have gotten relatively rusty, or they're an adult, as I said, and haven't done math in a long, long time. But we do, because we're open door, we have students who turn to us who, read at maybe a 6th, 7th grade level and really need help to be able to pursue their dreams of a college education. We also offer a scholarship for the top performing students in Jefferson and Lewis County, the top 15% in their high school graduating class. And get a lot of takers on that. So we have in our classrooms across our campus a whole gamut of skill levels. So we have a variety of developmental courses to help a student get up to performing at the college level, tutoring, a massive amount of tutoring, both professional tutors and peer tutors, and lots of programs to help students get from where they are to where they want to be. I hate to pick out a favorite, but one of them we have is through a federal TRIO program, a Student Support Services grant. We call it STAR, where students are assigned a very specific advisor, and through weekly coaching and weekly tutoring and monitoring and just very intensive one-on-one, those students are doing phenomenally well. So the premise that everyone could come to us college ready is, of course we want that.
Right.
It's
and the need is there.
You bet the need.
You bet the need
is there. And despite all the things we do, it is students who start out at the lowest capabilities have the least chance of finishing. We're very focused at our college, as well as across New York and nationally, on this idea of completion. That it's not just about access, about getting started, but it's about finishing. In fact, we had completion week this week, and really trying to hone in on that with students about how important it is to do. And every time a student has to get through a hurdle to get into another class that still isn't credit bearing and still isn't the subject they really want to study.
And it's still costing them money.
It's still costing them money, and they've struggled with it their whole life. It's not that they weren't trying up until, they're 18 or 20 or whatever with us. Is harder for them to get through. So there's a lot of work being done across the country, and we're doing some as well, about how do you shorten that gap up? What can you put in place that is so different than what's happened before? We are working with some local high schools on math and how that could be done at the high school that satisfies high school requirements and also helps them do better when they come to Jefferson. We just were selected to participate in a grant with Columbia College, and they're looking at placement into developmental courses, and what can be done to improve a student's odds of being in the right developmental course and getting through it successfully. So there is a lot that needs to be done, and the Common Core does hold tremendous promise.
Yes, yes it does. And if we just stay the course and give it a chance to work.
Yes, because you're talking about, I was in a presentation a couple of months ago about it, the implementation starts at very young grades. So we are not going to see students who have been through this entire process for
12 or 13 years in some cases.
Yes,
yeah.
And so we need to give it time to prove itself out. If we go 3 or 4 years, that is not going to tell us the success of the program.
No, it isn't. In our last minute or two, Carole, why don't you give us what your vision for JCC is going forward? What's your next big goal as president and as the leader of the college?
Well, I don't know that it's a new goal. We are totally focused on meeting our community needs. Always have been, always will be. So, we've got thoughts with our new facilities master plan. We have a new strategic plan that we're working on. It wouldn't surprise you that it's about programs, student success, right? Because that's who we are and what we do. So our vision is to keep doing, I think I would just say what our tagline is.
Keep on
keeping on. We set a tagline for the college a number of years ago, there's more here. And I've yet to grow tired of it because it really is the truth about Jefferson. And there's more here now, and there will be more here in the future because we are committed to growing to keep up with educational needs.
Well, Carole, thank you so much for coming in
thanks for
today.
having me.
It's been a wonderful conversation, and I think a lot of people who maybe aren't as familiar with your college are now going to come away with a sense of who you are and what you do for people. So thank you.
Thank you.
Our time is up. These conversations are a production of North Country Matters, which is produced here in the studio of WCKN on the campus of Clarkson University. This show is a civic collaboration between the St. Lawrence County branch of the American Association of University Women, the League of Women Voters of St. Lawrence County, and the Communication and Media Department here at Clarkson University. Until next time, remember, our North Country matters.